I have a toffee on my lap.
Who's a good toffee? Who's a good toffee? You are a good toffee. Such a good toffee, darling.
Such a good toffee, darling. Can you hear her?
Clearing throat. Nightshade. I can't read my notes if I look at the camera. Okay, Nightshade, you looking? Yeah. Welcome to Tea and Toffees, a weekly VTuber podcast where we ramble about all sorts of entertainment media. Hi, I'm Nightshade, an undead demon that had the misfortune of getting stuck in the mortal world.
And hi, I'm Cecilia, and I was a witch in my previous life, but now I don't have any witch powers and I'm stuck in this mortal world and need a distraction. So we have a podcast, don't we?
Yes.
To ramble about all of our distractions.
Yes.
What are we rambling about today?
Today, we are going to ramble about Lucifer, based very loosely on the Sandman comics. And, well, we talked about that last week, actually.
Yes, that we did.
Okay,
so
let's start with a brief history of our familiarity with the Sandman, not Sandman, with the Lucifer TV show from Fox and Netflix, I believe.
Yes, Fox and Netflix, because Fox decided to let's not continue this show. And then the fans were like, but we want this show to continue, and made a petition, I think. And then Netflix decided, yes, we're going to continue this. So now it's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. I saw exactly 2 episodes on TV before. Kids growing weed for money, and Lucifer with his wings out protecting Chloe from getting shot by mafia dudes. Which made me think that Lucifer had his wings the whole time. And then we watched it together when I moved into your flat. And I realized, no, he does not actually have his wings at the beginning.
Yeah, he actually doesn't. I don't actually know which season the weed episode is from, but the Lucifer having his wings out and protecting Chloe, that is season 3. So just right in the middle, I guess, because we have 6 seasons in total. What is my history with it? Well, I watched the TV show on streaming services, I believe, because I can't recall having actually watched it on TV. Can't remember if I ever did that, or if I did, most likely just random episodes, I suppose. So yeah, I watched it on streaming services when it came out. The first 2 seasons were already out when I started, I believe. And then I watched the other seasons when they came out. And then we watched it together. And the final season I only watched once together with you. So yeah, that's my history of Lucifer. And I obviously haven't read the comics.
Yeah, you never do.
Because I don't think I have read any comics.
Would you look at that? Next week's episode, I also read the comics and you didn't.
Yes. Maybe I will read some comics at some point. But at the moment, for the comic part, I have you. So, educate me on the comic part.
Yes, so for those who don't know The Sandman, it's a comic book series written by Neil Gaiman that takes place in the DC universe and tells the story of a dream of the Endless. The first issue was published in 1988 or 1989, depending on which source you look at. The series recently got adapted into an amazing live-action TV show on Netflix, which we gushed about in the first 2 episodes of this podcast. At the beginning of the Sandman comic story, Dream, the main character, is captured by a mortal and his 3 tools are taken from him. Once he manages to escape, he obviously goes looking for his tools. We first meet Lucifer in Hell when Dream comes to take back his helmet. Dream challenges the demon who holds his helmet, who's a pink demon with 2 mouths, but I don't remember his name. And, well, Dream wins, and he kind of offends Lucifer in the process, and then Lucifer swears to destroy him or something. So the next part is technically a spoiler for all Sandman fans, but the fact that Lucifer, the TV show, is based on the Sandman character, and we all know the premise of Lucifer, it's supposed that's meaningless at this point. So, 2 years after Dream's first visit, when Dream comes back to right or wrong he did to some soul in hell. You'd expect there to be an epic fight or something. Dream certainly does. But Dream finds hell empty.
Well, if I would have been in Dream's shoes, I would also have expected an epic fight.
Yes.
But guess not.
And Dream admits that Lucifer is stronger than him, so Dream expects to lose the fight as well.
Oh, poor Dream.
But Lucifer surprises him. Dream goes, "What's going on?" And Lucifer says, "I quit." And also, Lucifer has this habit in the comics of speaking in plural about themselves. But now that he quits, he just stops doing it. Interesting tidbit. I wouldn't have noticed if Dream hadn't pointed it out. And then Dream...
I probably wouldn't have noticed as well.
Yes, and then Dream takes Lucifer takes Dream around the place, gets rid of the last stragglers that are left, a few demons and Mazikeen. By the way, Mazikeen looks awesome in the comics. I mean, it's a horror comic and she looks like a horror figure out of a horror comic. Although you humans might think that she does not look awesome but horrifying, and I'm like, she looks great. And one of the last stragglers left in hell is this weird human called Breshow. Breshow does not want to leave. He's all, "I am Breshow. Let me tell you about all these horrible things I did. This is my punishment." And Lucifer goes, "Sure, now leave." And the human goes, "Didn't you hear me? I am Breshow." And it goes on like that for a while until Lucifer gets fed up and just vanishes Breshow from his realm.
You know what I have to say to that?
No.
I am Groot. I am Groot.
But Groot is tiny baby. Or
not always.
Yes, not always, but Groot is precious, and Breshow is a human that just wants to be punished, I suppose. As you do.
Yeah. So I guess that's a bit different. But like the I am Breshow and I am Groot.
Yeah, I can see that.
I
can see that.
I had to make the comment.
Wrong universe, though. We are in DC and not Marvel.
Okay.
So, at the end of their little tour, Lucifer has locked all the gates. He drops the key to hell in Dream's hands and tells Dream to cut off his wings, which, ouch. And all this is sort of a revenge in its own right, because now Dream will have to deal with the fallout of an empty hell, which, not nice. Death certainly does not appreciate all these little dead humans running around. Yeah, Death has their hands full with this one. It's anticlimactic in a way, but also funny. Dream though did not expect any of this. Dream was ready to fight and lose and leave all his subjects behind once again. Lucifer, meanwhile, he's just tired and he thinks after 10 billion years providing a place for mortals to torture themselves, why should he keep doing this? So he decided to.
Yeah, let's just quit. I suppose 10 billion years is a long time, so
Yes.
Understandable.
A very long time. There's this part of the conversation between Dream and Lucifer as they go around hell that the TV show adapted into different circumstances with a different audience. I don't quite remember when it happened, but I do remember that they covered it. And Lucifer in the comic asks Dream, "Why do they blame me for all their little failings? They use my name as if I spent my entire day sitting on their shoulders, forcing them to commit acts that they would otherwise find repulsive. The devil made me do it. I have never made them do anything," and so on. It's quite beautiful. Lucifer also tells Dream that the humans expect him and his demons to fulfill their desire for pain and retribution. As in, hell is there for the humans to torture themselves. Breshow is a telling example of this.
Well, the show spun this into hell loops, so people just relive their guilt over and over again, and they could technically leave any time, so they do essentially torture themselves by feeling guilty and reliving their worst memories again and again and again. Isn't that lovely?
Yes.
They torture themselves. It's not the devil made me do it. It's your choice. You, yourself.
Yes.
Mate. You do it.
I think it's lovely. Humans torturing themselves for their own guilt. They do pretend or convince themselves that it's the devil, but it's not. So, in a way, both the comics and the TV show portray hell as this place for humans to punish themselves. But yeah, they blame Lucifer for their misery, and Lucifer's weary and tired of this shit, and so he just leaves. Next we know...
I would as well.
Yes. Next we know Lucifer is lying half naked on a beach in Australia, watching the sunset. Because why not?
Yes, why not? I suppose that's something you can do.
And now back to Dream. We have Dream with the key to hell. And there are many gods and deities and demons and all sorts of people. We've got the Norse gods, Odin and his son Thor, which he does not look like you would expect Thor to look. And Loki is there. And we got some Egyptian gods. And we got a representative of order and one of chaos. And many, many people come. They all want this key to hell. They come to Dream to...
Why?
Why not? Why not?
But wouldn't that be a lot of work? And who wants to do a lot of work?
I have no idea, but I suppose hell is a nice place to be in possession of, to be in charge of. I mean, they all have different ideas of what to do with the place as well, so... Yeah, they are
not convinced.
They all come to bribe and threaten and bargain for the key, but in the end, God sent two angels, Ramiel and Duma, to watch over the proceedings, just to watch and observe. And then God just decides, well, I'm gonna put you two in charge, because we can't have hell remaining empty for longer. And Ramiel is quite devastated. They didn't do anything to warrant this kind of punishment. But Duma silently takes the key. Duma kind of doesn't talk, so that's in character. And then Ramiel eventually resigns himself to his fate for Duma's sake, I suppose. Ramiel also, once he accepts it and goes to hell, he kind of, how to put this, he goes off his rockers, their rockers, he loses it a bit. It's no idea what happened. Crazy angel.
Okay, crazy angel.
We don't see much of Lucifer after that in the Sandman comics. He does later appear at one point playing songs in his piano bar Lux in Los Angeles. And we see Ramiel coming to him and telling him about all the changes they made in hell. And Ramiel asks if Lucifer would come back. Of course he won't. Lucifer's like, been there, done that. No, thank you.
No, thank you. I quit. I have no desire of going back.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Lucifer then, at one point, I think that might have happened while the Sandman was still running. Lucifer got his own spin-off comic series, simply titled Lucifer, where, you guessed it, he runs his own piano bar Lux and explores the meaning of free will. Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Now,
so
as for this comic, it is different compared to the TV show. But, yeah, why don't we compare it? Or I compare it.
Well, I was about to say I can't exactly compare it because I haven't read the comics. I mean, you told me about the comics now, so I guess I could compare them a bit, but not really. So, take it away.
Sure. Essentially, except for the premise, the comic series Lucifer and the TV show Lucifer are almost entirely completely different stories. Lucifer leaves hell, opens his piano bar Lux, and explores agency and free will and daddy issues. Alright, and we have some core characters, Lucifer, Amenadiel, and Mazakin. But Lucifer's blonde, and he's a completely different character, aside from being blonde. Amenadiel is a stern buff dude with long white hair, and Mazakin wears a half mask to hide the scarred side of her face, which looks unsurprisingly horrifying, coming from a horror comic. And her speech is very slurred because of the scarring, though she does get a normal face later on, I believe. And Lucifer...
I don't know.
Lucifer's personality is completely different. He's the devil. He does not care for humans. Human emotions are beneath him and all that shit. The comics tells Lucifer's story in the same way the Sandman told Dream's story, with smaller arcs and short stories that all tie into an overarching plot and culminate in a fitting ending for Lucifer's character arc. Meanwhile, the TV show is a homicide detective gets help by an outsider story, like The Mentalist and Castle. And although it has an overarching plot that kind of explores free will and goes into... Well, it goes into a completely different direction. It just runs with it. So yeah, we have Lucifer from the comics. He's a badass. I already said he doesn't care about humans. He sees no reason to become human either, because we see the TV show Lucifer being very human despite being an angel. Like learning empathy and how to cope with your daddy issues.
There are a lot of daddy issues.
Yeah, comic Lucifer knows who he is. He's the second most powerful being in existence, according to Dream. He'd like to not be under the influence of his father anymore, thank you very much. And at one point, God leaves for who knows where, somewhere else, leaving behind a mess for Lucifer's niece to sort out, and Lucifer goes off to do his own thing elsewhere, free from his father and everyone else, and yeah, he's just a badass, overpowered devil. That's... yeah.
That is quite different.
Yeah, he interacts with the supernatural community. He's ruthless, he's badass, he does his own thing, he does not care about humans at all. And the people we see him caring about, he does that because he's selfish. He doesn't care about them because he's good in his heart or something. He does it because, yeah, I'm getting something out of this.
Like a Slytherin.
You know, I kind of want to see a Lucifer series that adapts the Sandman spin-off Lucifer comic as faithfully and brilliantly as Netflix's The Sandman did. The comics are so fundamentally different compared to the Lucifer show we already got that it would be an entirely different story. It'd be quite interesting, I think.
Well, until we get that, maybe at one point, let's talk about the TV show that we actually got. So, now that you've talked about how Lucifer is in the comics, let's get into Lucifer in the TV show, I suppose. But before we do that, we should probably mention that angels are technically genderless, but the show does make a point to gender them for some reason. So please forgive us for referring to them with the pronouns they were given in the show. And also something for me, because I don't always say Lucifer's entire name. Most of the time I just say Lucy, which is a nickname Amenadiel sometimes uses for Lucifer. So there's that as well.
Because Lucifer is such a long name.
Yes, Lucifer is such a long name, but Lucy. He's Lucy.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman makes a point of angels being genderless in several of his works. And as far as I am aware, other DC comics, other than the Sandman, have included this as well. And it is stated in the Bible and everything that they are genderless. On that topic, well, yeah, the TV show does not cover this at all. They don't even mention it, I believe. It's like completely...
No.
Yeah. Completely
It's
ignored
just like, yes,
at all.
Lucifer is male, and he has Amenadiel's male, and then you have siblings. There's also sisters, but every angel that appears, I think they're all gendered.
Yes, even God and his wife. Which...
Yes.
Anyway. So, yeah, we will not talk about that in this episode. We will wait for Good Omens. Which is a long way going because I'm still waiting for season 2. What we can talk...
Do you know when season 2... Well, when will season 2 come out? Do you know?
I believe they finished
I don't know.
filming and are working on the editing and all that. I'm not sure. Neil is very tight-lipped about that. Or maybe they have a date now and I just haven't noticed yet. Who knows? So,
well, we have to wait and see.
Yes, we're not talking about genderless angels, but we, or rather I, am gonna talk about Lucy's name. Oh, see, now I use the nickname as well.
I convinced you to use the nickname.
Okay.
Good.
So, there are different translations of his original Bible name. I do not speak Hebrew, and I cannot pronounce the original, but it boils down to meaning morning star or similar things, and at one point it got translated as Lucifer, or as Lightbringer. So technically Lucifer, the name, is a translation of the original name from the Bible. As a side note, the goddess Venus, the Roman version of Aphrodite, is also called the morning star.
So there are 2 Morningstars out there.
Yes. They also have similar background stories in a way, with the fall from disgrace and all that. You can read that up on Wikipedia or any other more trustworthy site on the mythology. So, the name Lucifer Morningstar, in a way, though not directly translated, means morning star. Morning star.
How lovely.
Yes.
The double name.
So, that was about the first name about Lucifer. The family, well, not family name in this case, the last name, Morningstar, might or might not have been invented by Neil Gaiman and then taken up by other people in shows like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, also based on comics by the way, and Hazbin Hotel, and according to Wikipedia, Rick and Morty, which out of those 3 is the only one I know nothing about.
I know nothing about it either.
And according to Google, there was no mention of a Lucifer Morningstar in literature before The Sandman came out in 1998. Neil Googled that himself. And it only got popular in the 2000s. While we were talking about Neil, he voiced God in one of the Lucifer episodes. Which...
I think it was season 4, the bonus episodes? Oh, wait, was it season 3 bonus episodes?
I think it was
in
season...
the 2 bonus episodes.
I think it was season 4. Because I did read out about it, but I forgot.
If you watch the show, you will notice, because all of a sudden it's like, wait, why? What are these episodes about? Because all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you had all this like overarching story, and then you have an episode that's like just doesn't tie in with the previous ones like at all. So you will notice the first bonus episode straight away, and then there's the second bonus episode when Neil Gaiman talks.
Neil said himself that he would have loved to come back if it had been agreeable with his schedule, but I guess they never got around to that. Or rather, they put God in there in a physical form, so they needed an actor or whatever. I don't know what exactly happened.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that, yeah, if you put him in physically, that it would be maybe difficult to have like someone who I don't know, does Neil Gaiman have acting experience?
I do not
because
know. But he's not a professional actor, he's an author, so...
Yeah, he's an author, so maybe they just wanted to uncomplicate things and hired an actor for the role.
Who knows?
It was maybe just simpler for them. Who knows?
Another tidbit. In the DC universe, we got Lucifer and we got Satan, and they are apparently different people. I have no clue what the Bible has to say about Satan or wherever that came from. Probably got several different historical backgrounds, whatever. Like the devil, whoever rules hell, there are different names and different stories and different origins and all that. But in the DC universe, before it got rebooted anyway, Lucifer and Satan are 2 different entities. But who knows? I'm not that much of a DC fan, so yeah, I'm more of a Neil Gaiman fan. That was a lot of talk about comics and names, but we're not here to discuss the TV. Well, we're here to discuss the TV show and not the comics. So, Cecilia.
Yes.
Who is Lucifer in the TV show?
Well, we learn right at the beginning that Lucifer left hell and that it's just not his problem anymore, and that he apparently has no plans whatsoever to ever return to hell. And he does call it a vacation on Earth, I think, but it's not really a vacation because it's more of a retirement, as we learn. But yeah, he now has his new life as the owner of the piano bar Lux, which I find kind of funny because he's the light bringer and owns a bar named after light, even though he hates being the light bringer, and that's not him anymore because he quit, didn't he? So I wonder why he named his bar Lux if he doesn't want to be the light bringer anymore.
I have no idea, but I'm sure there's some kind of psychological reason behind that. Who knows?
Probably, because there's a lot of psychological stuff in the Lucifer TV show. But I want to get a bit more into the piano bar Lux because it's a piano bar. But do we ever see people besides Lucifer and like other members of the main cast play the piano? People who like work for Lux? So it's actually a piano bar, like how it's supposed to be, and not just when Lucifer feels like playing the piano.
If I know.
Okay, so I guess we just don't have an answer to that. Maybe someone in the comments can tell us if they remember, if they have like, yes, you can see someone playing the piano in this episode with a timestamp. That would be appreciated, so that we just know. But yeah, Lucifer in the TV show, he is an immortal, which we learn pretty quickly because he gets shot and it still hurts, and it makes me wonder, Neitshayd, would you feel pain when shot as an undead demon?
I believe I'm incapable of feeling pain, but I don't know for sure, and I have no intention of ever finding out. Please do not shoot me. Thank you very much.
Understandable. I will not shoot you because for that I would need to acquire a gun first, and that would be a hassle and too much work. So, no, not gonna do that. Too much work.
You're not gonna shoot me because it's too much of a bother? Not because you don't want to shoot me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Fine.
Yes. Is there something wrong with that?
You're the Hufflepuff.
Anyways, you're an undead demon. You're already undead. You're not gonna die, you know?
True enough.
Anyways, let's move on. Lucifer is an immortal, but Lucifer is also a punisher. And because he already said in the TV show, he does become kind of human and care about human stuff. And, well, I guess that applies to the Punisher thing as well, because at first he only wants to punish the guilty. But at the beginning of the show, I pretty quickly, because I think it's episode 3 in season 1, where he gets told, yes, I think you're starting to care about getting justice for the good people and not just punishing the bad people. He could have left that role behind entirely when he left Hell, because he did quit after all. But he has played that role for a very long time. What did you say? 10 billion years or something? So it apparently became part of himself, like the devil face. It also became part of himself because he hates himself. But we will talk about that later. The devil face. Would you be scared by the devil face? Because for like normal humans, as we see in the show, they get scared like the living daylights out of them, and sometimes end up in a mental hospital because of it. I don't know if I would run away like that. Maybe I would be shocked and scream, but not because it's scary necessarily, because it's unexpected. Because you have probably noticed, since I started living with you, Neitshayd, I got used to some stuff, So some scary stuff is not as scary anymore. So devil face, why would that be scary?
Yes.
Lovely, lovely devil face.
I think it's kind of cool. You know what? I wonder what it would feel like to touch the devil face. Because it looks really, really cool and shiny. And I don't know, what does this feel like? Touching this weird abomination of skin. I want to know. I also want to know what Mazekin's guard side would look like. Because you can see the skull underneath her skin and all that. And I want to know what this looks like. Genuine curiosity, Let me touch your face, please.
I can get behind your curiosity, but I still don't want to touch the devil face. I'm fine with looking at it, but touching it, no thank you. I guess that's where I draw the line.
Huh. If you say so. So if I'm gonna drag a Lucifer home and be like, touch his face, feel it. It's really cool. You wouldn't do it?
I would do it, but just because you asked me to.
Oh,
And you went to all the trouble to drag him home.
oh,
Just so that I can touch his devil face.
how cute.
Just for you.
Thank you. Lovely. Moving on.
Yes, we've talked about his appearance like a bit and what is new, that he has a new life. Personality. His personality is rather open and pretty straightforward and cheerful, actually. But that is just not him at all, because that is only a mask to hide who he truly is and how he truly feels. Which is pretty sad, pretty sad. He does talk openly, like, about being the devil and showing his devil face. He doesn't try to hide it, but at the same time, he hides himself, because it's like, yes, I don't want you to see me. And he only wants to see what he wants to see. He has like all these walls up and doesn't really care about anything that he doesn't want to see. And he definitely needs therapy, as does most of his family. That's a pretty dysfunctional family we've got there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The Lucifer we see in the TV show is not so much a representation of the devil retiring from hell, as the comics were, and more a representation of a man with a f***-up family struggling with his self-image and mental health. Which brings us to a very large, or something that takes up a very, very large portion of the show, mental health. We are,
Yes.
I think I have to say this, or technically I don't need to say this, but I'm just saying it. We are in no way experts on mental health and will leave the professional diagnosis and everything else to the professionals. But we gotta talk about mental health for a moment, and Lucifer is the show's poster child for that.
Yes. Yes, he definitely is.
If you don't
Hi.
know him personally, then you'd think of him as a playboy, wealthy and successful. He's charming, he's an entertainer, someone who lacks nothing in life. He seems upbeat and optimistic, he seems self-assured and confident, and you'd look at him and say, see, he is a prime example of a narcissist. But do narcissists hate themselves?
No, I don't think so. I think they're pretty full of themselves.
When you look behind closed doors, you get to see alcoholism, or rather drug abuse in general, a huge father complex. He self-projects on every case. There's depression and self-loathing, even self-harm in the form of cutting off his wings, which appears to be quite painful.
Yes, don't want to experience that. I mean, I don't have wings, but I imagine if you have wings, they're a part of yourself that must hurt to cut them off. Like, you're cutting off a limb, basically.
Yes. And angels self-actualize. Lucifer does not realize this until much, much later, but angels self-actualize. What does this tell us about Lucifer with his devil face and at one point even devil wings? But then again, can you apply human mental health issues to celestial beings? The answer is yes, you can, if the show you're watching makes a point of portraying them as being very, very human.
I mean, I don't actually know when they start to realize that angels self-actualize, but I don't think it's like, it must be in the later half at some point, which is pretty late, because if you know that they are self-actualizing, you can see it. The signs are all there. They just don't realize it. At least not until much, much later. Hey, okay, how did he even get to have all these mental problems? I guess we should talk about that a little bit. How did it all start? It started out with God casting him out of heaven for rebelling. And instead of talking about the issues, which would probably have helped, like a lot, communication is healthy, Lucy loses everything he had ever known and is now charge of the scum of the human world. And God even wanted to end his existence entirely which we learn from Goddess when she appears in season 2, I believe. And when he finds that out, that must have hurt like quite a lot. Like, your own father wanted to end your existence because you were unhappy and led a rebellion. I mean, yes, in wars and like, if you look at history, if someone has rebelled against the king, emperor, whatever, they got executed. But you're a family. You could have talked about this. No need to be so drastic. Okay? Yes. And also like, okay, punishment, being in charge of hell, being in charge of all of this scum, that must also have hurt. Like, okay, you think this is my punishment. I rebelled, this is my punishment. And now it's like, okay, that is supposed to be a mercy. I don't think Lucifer sees this as a mercy, seeing that he hates the job and all, and quit and all that stuff. Who would think being in charge is the mercy, aside from the people who actually wanted to be in charge and fought over the key in the comics? Still don't get it. Okay. And also, which you mentioned previously, which must have also contributed quite a lot to his mental health issues, the devil made me do it. Because I certainly wouldn't be amused either if they just accused me and blamed me for stuff I just didn't do. Like, you made this decision yourself. I didn't do anything. Why are you accusing me? Okay? That's not my problem. Stop doing that. That wouldn't be good for my mental health either. Nice.
As I mentioned earlier, comic Lucifer tells Dream that humans blaming him for their own mistakes is one of the many reasons he has grown weary of hell and wants to leave. As for God, gosh, those two are terrible when it comes to each other.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Lucifer's relationship with his father is very strained. There's no communication between them at all during the early seasons because God just never talks to anyone. And we only get to see Lucifer's side of this, Lucifer being your typical unreliable narrator. So we don't even know what is actually going on. And honestly, the entire Celestial family is kind of fucked up.
The entire Celestial family doesn't know what God wants. Even the Lucifer siblings, like Amenadiel, because he's also present quite a lot in the show, does he actually ever get a precise message from God? Aside from, yes, bless this couple so that they can have a child. I think other than that, he never talked to any of his children, like, prior to his physical appearance at some point.
Yeah, not even Uriel, who's like, what you're doing is wrong, Lucy. And Lucy's like, do you actually know that? Did Dad tell you? No, I didn't think so.
Yes, Lucy is quite right about that. God never tells anyone anything.
So
everyone just has to assume what he wants. And that leads to quite a lot of drama and mental health issues.
Yes. So this fucked-up relationship obviously influences a lot of aspects of Lucifer's life. He has problems connecting with people, becoming attached, becoming too attached. He doubts his self-worth, later starts doubting his own free will and agency. He has massive trust issues. He seeks validation from others, especially his father. He's immature and self-centered. He tends to project his own issues onto cases he's trying to solve with Chloe. He comes off as very narcissistic, yet at the same time utterly hates himself. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes, it's a lot. I mean, when I prepared and looked at all the episodes again, it was like, okay, we have depression and resignation and self-hatred. He's also really reckless. He wants to test his mortality. And I don't think mentally stable people would do that. Why would you want to test your mortality?
Why not?
So, you are an undead demon. You are not allowed to talk. Okay?
Fair enough.
Okay, yeah, he's suicidal. He becomes suicidal once he kills his brother. And I would probably feel guilty as well if I had to kill my own brother. So It's understandable, especially because he actually didn't kill before, even though you would assume, like, he is the devil. He must have killed someone before. But no, he has never killed before, so pretty heavy blow. First kill after existing so long and always being, like, accused of being a murderer. Must hurt pretty badly. And at one point, he even imitates Dan just to feel useful, which pretty much shows that he feels useless when he is himself, which sad. That's just sad, you know? And he has built up all of these walls to the point that he can't even ignite the flaming sword when he uses his all his anger that he has built up. But we also see that once he just uses pain to fuel the attempt to light the flaming sword again, it actually like burns a little bit and lights up, which shouldn't even be possible because the sword is incomplete at that point in time, so it shouldn't work in the first place. But he is able to ignite it, even if it's just briefly, which shows just how much pain he must have suffered if it had, because it has worked. So once again, sad, pretty sad.
If we pretend for a moment that Lucifer's human, and the show certainly forgets human psychology technically shouldn't apply to him, then all the issues we see make for a very complex and human character facing struggles that I believe many people struggle with. And over the course of the series, he grows and evolves and learns to accept himself and comes to terms with what was and was not his fault. And he learns how to become his best self. In one session with Linda, Lucifer actually admits to hating himself, and that's a very big step. And it is hard to forgive yourself, and Lucifer struggles with it, and it is a very human thing, and there are many setbacks as well, which is realistic in the journey to a healthy mental mindscape. And sometimes Lucifer doesn't want to accept help when he drowns in guilt for killing his brother Uriel, for example. The series does have many issues in other areas. For example, I would have loved to see Lucifer having some positive, non-manipulative queer relationships as the bisexual we are being told he is. And honestly, why does the devil even need a human label in the first place? And why is he shown as a womanizer more often than not when he clearly doesn't and shouldn't care about gender in the first place? There's just not enough gay in the show. And there are other problems too.
Isn't.
I think the episode where Manadil faces racism from cops tried very hard, but failed spectacularly. And we're not qualified to talk about that, so we won't. But, problematic shit aside, I think the series does strive to handle mental health as best as it can. I mean, there's therapy on screen. That's quite something. Even if it starts with Lucifer sleeping with the therapist. But
Yeah, the start is not good. Sleeping, you shouldn't sleep with your therapist, you know. You shouldn't do that, Lucy. But that he goes to therapy in the first place is quite the good thing. I don't know, or I don't remember how he reached the conclusion that he should go to therapy, but I'm glad that he decided to do that because therapy can help. And Linda is even the first person he trusts enough to show his devil face to, because she demands honesty, because she's tired of all the metaphors, because at least she thinks that this patient is using metaphors. And I mean, who can blame her? Who would think, like, when you're told, yes, I'm the devil, why would you believe them? Because it's probably also not the first time she heard that from a patient. I think as a therapist, you might have heard that before at some point. So, yes, devil face must have been pretty shocking. Anyways, having people you can trust is very important for your mental health, and sometimes it's just easier to trust someone that's not too close to your heart and also want to secrecy, so there's that as well. So going to therapy can help you. So why not try it, at least? Who knows if you need it? Maybe you need it, maybe you don't, but trying can be good, I suppose. And yeah, also my condolences to Linda and her sanity, because she most definitely did not sign up for being the therapist to what is one of the most powerful and dysfunctional families out there. And wait, which family is actually more dysfunctional? Lucifer's family or Dream's family? Because we know that Dream's family is also very powerful, and we also know that it's a bit dysfunctional. Because as we talked like in the last episodes, there is a lot of family drama, and you didn't spoiler me, but there might be a war between them, and that's quite dysfunctional, I would say.
I will not expand on this, but I'd say Lucifer's family is more dysfunctional. You will have to wait for more seasons of Sandman, though.
Yes, I guess I will have to wait for that. Yeah, but I also think Linda did choose the right profession in being a therapist, because after he showed her his devil face, she is, as I said, understandably quite shocked, but she gets over it. And because how does she get over it? It's because she wants to help Lucifer more than she fears having the actual devil in her life. And quite admirable of her like determination to help this like just patient who has mental health issues is greater than the fear of the devil. And I think most humans would fear the devil quite a lot if they are just sitting in front of you in a room with you alone.
Which does not make any sense, because you have nothing to fear from the devil.
I mean, if you know the devil and know Lucy in the show, it's like, yeah, you most likely don't have to fear anything as long as you don't antagonize him. So you don't have to fear anything, but normal humans don't really interact with the devil, I suppose. And are just like of the mindset, yes, the devil is evil and the devil made me do this. At least that's what they probably get told or see on the news and stuff. Who knows? Who knows?
That, I should say that makes sense, but I don't get it. Anyway, I have no idea how realistic the therapy sessions that we get to see are, but the message they project is certainly a good one. Even the devil agrees that seeking help for your mental health issues is important. That's a good message. And Masochine too seeks out Linda, the soulless demon who finds herself developing emotions and tender feelings of all things. We see Masochine at the beginning as this ruthless but also kind of bored demon who kind of wants to return to hell, or at least do something that is not entertaining lowly humans or, heaven forbid, well, hell forbid, saving them. But she does change a lot.
Yes, she does change. I mean, at the beginning, she really enjoyed being a demon and liked punishing people in hell. And she only followed Lucifer to Earth out of loyalty for her lord. But then she is like, okay, Lucifer is apparently abandoning me now and even betraying me. So she's feeling kind of lost without the will she has had so far. And then that Amenadiel also uses her does not help at all. And Linda drops her as a friend as well, because she's a demon. And yeah, I guess you have to come to terms with that first. When you learn, oh, I have had therapy sessions with the devil and I'm friends with a demon. Takes a bit to process that. So Maze essentially is all alone on Earth, where she doesn't really want to be, and now she needs to find a new life. Quite hard, I would say. But Mace stays strong and continues to be amazing while looking for a profession and just a place in the world for herself. And she ends up becoming a bounty hunter, which perfect for her, at least in my opinion, because she can once again make sure that the bad guys are punished, and she can also let out all of her pent up frustration and aggression in the process. So there's that as well. And you can also see that she continues to care for the people she cares about, Linda, Lucifer. And then, because why not? Lucifer doesn't acknowledge her feelings, and Melody and Linda get together behind her back. So she once again feels betrayed. And how do I sum this up? Life is apparently not easy for a demon on Earth. Do you agree?
True that. True that.
Yeah. Mace also has massive abandonment issues, like our poor Toffee darling. Oh. But at the end of the day, at the end of the series, she gets into a relationship with Eve, and even though it has a few ups and downs along the way, I think the relationship is quite good for her, and I'm happy for them both that they found each other in the end.
The portrayal of that relationship could have been better though, but I already mentioned that LGBT plus, too many letters, representation is not a strong point of this show.
No, it really isn't.
In general, we see several characters from the show visiting Linda. Even Linda herself needs help sometimes. Self-discovery, I'd say, is one of the most prominent journeys that we see Lucifer and Mazikeen and Eve and several other characters undertake.
Yes. But maybe we should move on from this very heavy topic of mental health issues. Why don't we discuss something else that takes up a major part of this show, which would be Deckerstar, the Roman story.
Love. What the hell is that even supposed to be? Cecilia, you can take this one. This shit, I'm out.
Okay. We've already talked about Lucy a bit. So before we get into Deckerstar, we should talk about Chloe a bit as well. Her job is solving crimes as a detective and solving mysteries in general. So it's somewhat understandable that the whole relationship between them starts out with her being curious around Lucifer and just like, this is a mystery because after he got shot, he's totally fine. And that is not a normal thing. Humans would not be fine after getting shot. And that should also ring some alarm bells for you, Chloe. You know?
Why are we talking about Chloe? I remember during the first season, I thought of Chloe as like, okay, this woman, actress I suppose in this case, is conventionally beautiful in a way that makes her very unattractive to me. I eventually got used to her appearance though. I also find it curious that Chloe is somehow still on good terms with Detective Douche, despite them living separately and eventually getting divorced.
Ah, yes, Detective Douche. I suppose we could also talk a bit about Chloe's relationship with Dan, because that was the previous relationship she was in, and it's a typical relationship we see in media. They are a married couple with a daughter, but the marriage falls through because one partner just focuses on his job too much, which in their case, Dan, Detective Douche, focus on work a bit too much. But he actually does make an effort doing the running of the show to make more time for his family and just spend more time together with them. But it doesn't work out in the end, and they decide to get divorced for their daughter's sake. But I'm rather glad that they ended it on good terms, because that is rather rare, and I think their dynamic just works a bit better like this, because it's everything else would have been forced at this point, and that wouldn't have been healthy. That wouldn't have been good for all of your mental health. And we already have enough mental health problems in this show, don't we?
So, Chloe and Lucifer.
Chloe and Lucifer. Well, Lucifer charms everyone except Chloe. So for Lucy, that's pretty disturbing. There's a woman who I can't charm, and my mojo also doesn't work on her. This is fascinating and very much intriguing. Let's find out more. Well, Chloe, as I said, it's just curious why Lucifer didn't die or get severely wounded after getting shot. So both start out just wanting to solve a mystery, and that is how it all begins.
Their relationship, whether platonic or romantic, it does take on. It's a slow progress. The romantic part, especially. He nags her. He's intrigued. She's mightily annoyed. They tease and nag each other, and their contrasting personalities play off of each other very well. He's very protective of her, does a lot of up shit for her, like sacrificing himself several times and killing his own brother Uriel to save her life. But I get their relationship on a platonic level. I don't quite get the romance. Also, Lucifer flirts a lot, and it's not limited to Chloe, which I think is kind of fitting for the devil.
Yes, that is kind of fitting for the devil. And I mean, how does Lucifer start, or how does he try to solve this mystery that's presented to him? It's by wanting to seduce Chloe, because he doesn't apparently know what else to do in order to get to know her. Which, yeah, that's the devil for you, I suppose. Chloe basically does her detective thing to solve the mystery. And she just goes to talk to people and investigates, I suppose. She doesn't quite believe his story of, yes, I am the devil, but she also doesn't outright dismiss it, and she actually asks to learn more about him, and is like, yeah, tell me more, basically. And I don't think she only does that to humor him, because as a detective, she must have seen a lot. So that's probably the reason why she doesn't outright dismiss it. And for Lucy, that's also apparently pretty significant, because he becomes vulnerable around her, which made me wonder, is she like the first person to not outright just dismiss him? Is he like that desperate just to be seen by someone that he unconsciously makes himself vulnerable? Because we did establish already that angels self-actualize. And yeah, I get that she is different, and apparently now he has finally hope that someone might see him for himself, so he attaches himself to Chloe, which, once again, sad that she's like the first one who, like, he believes, yes, this person could actually see me for myself. Pretty sad. And how does it all start out? The connection they build doing the cases and stuff, it causes Lucifer to slowly lower his walls, and he actually starts to let emotions in, and he starts to change, which, yes, I suppose he does become more human, which wasn't a thing in the comics. And he starts the process of healing. But I also see it as kind of dangerous, because if he starts to depend on Chloe like in an unhealthy amount, because he is like, okay, she is the only one who actually sees me for myself, that can be pretty dangerous. Lucy, darling, you need a support system that consists of more than just Chloe and your therapist. Okay? Can we get that? Hopefully. And there's also like this quote in the show, which I found a bit interesting. He was like, I can let my guard down with you. I don't do that with anyone else. You make me vulnerable. And maybe that's okay. And doesn't that sound like a huge step in the right direction? Because being honest and communicating is very important for a healthy relationship. And it's also difficult for Lucy to just be vulnerable because he simply isn't used to that all that much. And admitting to being vulnerable to Chloe, that he allows himself to be vulnerable with her, that is a huge show of trust, isn't it? So I'm very proud of Lucy for that one, and that it's processed in the right direction. But it would have been too easy if it was just that easy to be like, okay, yes, maybe it's okay to be vulnerable with you and I can trust you. Way too easy, isn't it? We need to make us 6 seasons worth of content out of this relationship. So let's throw in some mental health problems once again, and those cause some setbacks in the relationship. I mean, he is new to all of this and he doesn't really know how to deal with it, which understandable. He kind of wants to distance himself from her because everything is so new. He doesn't know how to deal with all of it. But, well, he feels easily betrayed and also doesn't want to stay away from her, which a bit contradictory at some points. It's up and downs overall. And as we said already, he does tend to make reckless decisions when it comes to Chloe. And Chloe also then slowly starts to trust our dear Lucifer and care about him more. But that only really starts once Lucifer stops pursuing her, because then she realizes, okay, he actually does care about me and I'm not just a conquest. Lucy not feeling worthy of Chloe is like, from a mental health standpoint, that's not good. But for their relationship, that's kind of good because Chloe is now more carefree and relaxed around him. So good and bad in one thing, I would say.
Bah, emotions. Horrible, who needs that? So we get all that progress in their relationship. And then Lucifer learns that Chloe is a gift from God. And what does Lucifer value above all? Free will and being free of his father's influence. And also earning his father's approval, but that's irrelevant right now.
Yeah. So we make all that progress just for Lucy to distance himself from Chloe once he learns that she is a miracle from God. And he even brings a fake wife along. Candy Morningstar. We all remember Candy.
Why not a fake husband?
Because we can't have LGBT plus stuff in this show. That's why we need a fake wife and can't have a fake husband. Okay?
Sure.
Not every show can be as inclusive as The Sandman, you know? Even if it is kind of sad that we have all to make all of this like, yes, no LGBT plus stuff. Sad. It's also quite disheartening to see him, Lucifer, just closing himself up again after like he finally started to open up a bit more. And because he finally had someone he trusted, and now he has to start questioning everything again because his father is a meddling bastard. And he doesn't like know anymore what were truly his decisions and where his father just decided to meddle with all of it. But at least they continue to work together, so that's something, I suppose.
They are partners, Romans or not, and that at least I can understand. I can get behind that. They are a team and it works out.
Yes. And then we have enter Kane, or Marcus Pierce, as he calls himself, because you can't go around calling yourself Kane through all of these decades, I guess. Lucifer even starts or at the beginning at least, he is accepting that Chloe and Kane are like getting closer and getting together and stuff, which that shows that he really cares about her happiness and is not just obsessing over her, which was a concern of mine at the beginning of the show. So I'm glad to see that.
Kane.
Just let the dude die.
Self-actualization does not only apply to angels. He could have died at any given moment. On the matter of Chloe and Pierce and Lucifer, why didn't they just enter a poly relationship, have threesomes and all that?
Looks like we just can't have a poly relationship in the mainstream TV show. So we somehow need to get only Lucifer and Chloe together. The episode where Lucy and Kane have to pretend to be fake husbands, that when I watched that episode, I was also like, why don't we get Kane just into the relationship and make a poly relationship? Why? That was a nice episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed it. They pretended to be married and it worked out. It was awesome. But the episode was also a bit problematic because it portrayed a lot of stereotype. And most of what happened in that episode was played for comedy rather than actual representation. And it had a lot of potential, but I was kind of lost for shit and giggles, so to say.
Okay. So we couldn't have that relationship. Didn't it only fail because like Lucifer and Cain didn't realize their feelings for each other? Because we have Lucifer and Chloe together. We have Chloe and Cain together. So to get the triangle, we only would have needed to get Lucy and Cain. Maybe they would have done that if they didn't pointedly make a point about gendering all the angels and deciding no LGBT plus stuff in this episode. Okay, we can't have that.
One could argue that it was an LGBT episode, but I disagree. And the episode was the perfect setup for Cain, Pierce, and Lucifer to realize their feelings, but of course they didn't. No, can't have that.
No.
It's just a case that we need to solve.
Just a case we need to solve. It's nothing more. We just put that in here to pretend like we care. Okay? So, back to Deckerstar, because that is the relationship we get in the show. Lucifer's devil face returns after he kills Cain, and I guess Lucifer is just disgusted with himself for killing someone. At least that's what we are led to believe in the show. What we have to think about for a second is, was it just because he killed someone, or is it maybe also about having killed Cain, a potential love interest? Because bisexual show writers, did you forget?
If only. We can pretend in our pretty little heads that was the true reason, but we know that the show is not like that.
No. Also, that showdown, the poor wings, Lucifer's beautiful wings, they were all bloody and shot. Poor wings. You know, they deserved better.
Yeah, they did. If I had wings, I would treat them better. Then again, I guess they make for a good shield.
Suppose so.
Also, Chloe's reaction to the revelation that Lucifer is actually, truly the devil, I think was totally over the top and unnecessarily dramatic on her part. Linda's reaction I could understand, but Chloe's not so much. And this, I believe there was a point where Chloe was like to Lucifer, you don't have to be that guy and you can change, which implies that she really thinks he is the embodiment of evil. It's just, it doesn't fit with what we have seen of her personality up until that point.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't. And they now have a really strained relationship after that reveal. I mean, I suppose Chloe is just not ready to accept him like this, but they have been through a lot already. They have spent a lot of time together, and while I understand that such a reveal is difficult, I think at this point in their relationship, it would have made more sense if Chloe had accepted it, like after a few days, maybe a few weeks, if you want to give her a bit more time. It would have made more sense to me if she would have been, yeah, you are the devil, but that doesn't actually change anything because we've spent a lot of time together and I know that you are not like what the devil is typically portrayed as. Shouldn't she like know better at this point? So I just don't understand why they decided to do that. But at least we get some more story for the other characters and yeah, the struggles they put Lucifer and Chloe through after season 3 a bit forced in my opinion. But that's just my personal opinion.
I agree. I totally agree.
Thank you for agreeing.
Yes, this series also does not end when they get together as most other series do, which is usually a good thing, a cool thing to do, but not in this case. Maybe they would have been better off as friends, but who am I to judge that? I do think their dynamic was better off before they officially got together, but I also think that the problem doesn't lie in Chloe and Lucifer being who they are, and it's more... It stems from bad script writing, I think. It's as if whoever wrote their interactions suddenly forgot what their personalities were like and all the personal growth they, and Lucifer especially, went through. Or maybe that's just me generally preferring platonic relationships over romantic and or sexual ones. Actually, is there any relationship of romantic and or sexual nature in this show that is portrayed in a good and realistic and healthy way? I don't think so. But I don't know how such relationships are supposed to work either, so there's that.
Relationship, romantic and or sexual that is actually healthy.
And before you say anything, Chloe and Dan don't count because they are divorced.
Yeah, I mean after their divorce, they have a healthy relationship, but while they are married, I mean there is a reason it fell through, so not healthy. Maybe like post show after it has all ended, we have some healthy relationships there, but most of the time during the show there are not really a lot of healthy romantic relationships there, are there?
No. I think the people responsible for writing the show are just bad at portraying couples on screen. During the first 2 seasons, Chloe and Lucifer communicate with each other. They have chemistry. Their whole dynamic just works. And somehow that gets lost in later seasons, and Chloe's reaction to the truth about Lucifer is only one of the more extreme and obvious examples. Season 6 happened. That was a thing. Oh gosh.
Yes.
The last season was terrible. It was just terrible. Chloe being a single mother again. Where's Trixie anyway? Lucifer being absent from his daughter's life, despite all the growth he went through in regards to his relationship with his own father. Just...
Yeah, season 6 is Yeah. Why did Lucifer have to leave his family to redeem the souls in hell? Can't he, like, visit them? Or, like, start the whole hell therapy thing after his daughter has grown up a bit so that she can just understand? Like, okay, yes, daddy is off to work and he visits every now and again. And what he does is important because, like this, she just feels abandoned. And Chloe even goes along with it. It's like, yes, let's just abandon her. I don't understand that. And at the end of season 6, their daughter is just suddenly okay with being abandoned by her father, and him doing all this therapy in hell doesn't really make it okay that he abandoned you, Aurora. Okay? Um, Maybe you should also do therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Or go to therapy. Family therapy.
That is very good suggestion. Blah, 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 word. Suggestion. It's a good suggestion. It just...
Thank you.
Season 6 undid everything that happened until that point.
Yes.
We will just agree that Lucifer has 5 seasons. Lucifer has 5 seasons.
Yes, Lucifer has 5 seasons. Does anyone disagree with us? Lucifer has 5 seasons. Do we understand each other? I hope we do.
Okay. My notes tell me there's more stuff that didn't fit into any of our previous categories.
Would you look at that? My notes say the same. What a surprise.
Yeah, so some odds and ends. This is gonna be very random. How many times has someone come up the elevator we shouldn't have in the first place? To be fair, Lucifer is the devil, but still, that's...
Yes, Lucifer is the devil, and at the beginning he is immortal, but then he becomes vulnerable, so...
He's still immortal,
maybe...
Technically.
Yes, technically. But not when Chloe is around. And didn't he even get, like, shot at one point in the show because someone came up the elevator and just shot him? I mean, he was okay after that, and Dan was having a mental breakdown because Lucifer was okay after that.
I was about to say, wasn't that Dan? But yeah, that was Dan. Just coming up there, shooting the guy his ex-wife is kind of getting together with or not, and it's like, whoopsie. Shit happens.
Whoopsie. And yeah, maybe he should have contemplated, like, getting a lock or something on the... like on that elevator that you need a key to get up to the floor where he lives. It's weird, but it's also a bit iconic for the show that it's just like, yes, you have the elevator, you have all these people coming out of the elevator, and we can despair of, Lucy, why do you have this elevator that anyone can access? Everyone can just walk into your home. Like, why?
No privacy at all. On the other hand, it's the devil. Maybe he doesn't care about material stuff so much. And if it wasn't for Chloe, he would be invincible. So it's like, does it matter if anyone comes up?
Yeah.
And even if they interrupt them having sex or something, he would just be like, "Hey, join us." So
I don't know if Chloe would be okay with that, but Lucifer at the beginning, at least, I mean, I don't know how long he has lived in Lux.
5 years.
Before 5 years. Yeah. So for 5 years, he was just like, oh, you've come up the elevator. Join us. Join us in the hot tub.
Unless it's Amenadiel. I think there was a point where Amenadiel interrupted his threesome. Yeah.
Could be.
There was one. I distinctly remember Lucy being like, it's called the devilish handsome for a reason or something. And Amenadiel doing his time flow stop thingy. Anyway.
Time still stop.
Another odds. Okay. Another one. Do you know we have not talked about even once? Ella, the optimist. The always smiling and cheerful and overall positive optimist. Ella.
The Hufflepuff.
The emotional support sunshine.
I mean, Azrael wanted their favorite sibling to watch over their favorite human, and I think that's kind of sweet, you know. And Ella also deserves that because she did have a hard time when she was young, but she managed to stay cheerful. So, favorite sibling and favorite human watching out for each other.
Part of what I find interesting about Ella, apart from her being the emotional support sunshine, Ella is very religious, which most of the human characters in the show are not religious at all. And this makes for an interesting dynamic with Lucifer. I don't remember. Does Ella ever find out the truth? I don't remember.
You mean the truth that Lucifer is the actual devil and not just like a crazy person who always says he is the devil?
I think she says that he's a method actor, and he's like, I'm not a method actor. But yeah, that's what I meant.
That could have been it. I mean, Amenadiel at one point also is to Chloe like, yes, he is delusional. So we have the delusional thing as an explanation.
I mean,
we
he's
have
not
the method
wrong.
actor.
He's not wrong at all.
Yes, he is not wrong. But Ella does find out the truth because doesn't she like do her version of a PowerPoint presentation? Because obviously they don't do PowerPoint presentations. They have like this transparent whiteboard thingy where they always write on and have the different pictures from the cases. She probably wrote it on there and was like, I have collected evidence that I believe Lucifer is the actual devil. And also not good for her mental health. Like, shit, this is the actual devil. Do you know that he is the actual devil? That's dangerous.
Think, you know what this reminded me of? This meme of this dude with the crazy look in his eyes and all the red strings was like, I have a theory. Or whatever. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Don't tell me you don't know that. Oh my gosh, I will edit this in. And I will need to show you after this episode. You will definitely know what I mean. Surely you'd know.
Faulty memory, it sometimes is spotty. Even though mine is usually better than yours.
Yes. I mean, I'm really old, so you can't expect me to remember all the shit that happened in my life and undead life, and nope.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot not all of my previous life, but a lot of it. So I have much less things and stuff to remember than you do. So yes, understandable. Everything is perfectly fine and understandable. And if I don't remember something, maybe there's at least a chance that you remember, because you do remember odd things.
Yeah. I remember the weirdest shit sometimes. Okay, moving on. Wouldn't it have been cool if Lucifer's mom had ended up in a man's body or a non-binary person? We did see her jump through a few bodies until she settles on Charlotte's. And like, the first two we see are men. And I'm like, why not?
That would have been cool indeed to see, but since we can't have a poly relationship, we obviously can't have goddess in a non-female body either. Case in point, at the end, when Lucifer sends her to her own universe, or to create her own universe in a void or something along those lines, we even have her reconcile with God at the end. She can't just stay in her peaceful universe. So we obviously have to like reform this heterosexual relationship that we did not need. And how is she even supposed to know that he won't treat her like shit again? And like, you should have just left him, period.
Yeah, like, how is she supposed to know? Not at all. Just ditch him. Why do we need a female presenting mother figure that is married to God? Why? God, even more so than angels, is a gender non-conforming being that we do not need to put into a heterosexual marriage, because heteronormativity should not be applied to celestial deities. No. Just no. No.
I agree with you on that. No. But the show writers disagree with us. Obviously. Obviously.
So,
Sad.
in conclusion, mental health is important. Lucifer and Chloe should have ended up in a poly relationship with Marcus Pierce, and Goddess should have embraced a new non-binary existence independent from God.
I agree with everything you mentioned just now. Yes.
Well,
Okay.
that's it for this week's episode.
That's it for this week's episode. Thank you all for watching or listening. You can find us on Twitter at Tea and Toffees, and we are also on Spotify for our YouTube watches.
Or if you're listening to this on Spotify, we're also on YouTube at Tea and Toffees.
And yeah, once again, we hope that you enjoyed the episode. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
You know the drill, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.